Hi everyone, welcome to a Game Week 15 preview and a Game Week 14 review, and what a game week it was. Now, a lot of people you've seen on Twitter or on YouTube have got really good Game Week scores, and if yours isn't that great, then don't worry. Actually, the whole average was about 60, so even if you're just under that, it's not been that much of a terrible Game Week. No graphics or lineup things for After Effects today because time is precious. We've got another Game Week coming around, and of course, Christmas is coming for a lot of you guys, not for me. I'll still be working, and I might stream on Christmas Day, which sounds really sad, but we don't celebrate it here. So if that's something people are interested in seeing, then that's something that I can set up. If not, hopefully you guys enjoy your Christmas, and I'll see you all soon. So let's get into the review for this game week. Starting off, 95 points. It is arguably easily one of the highest scores I think I've ever got. And no chips being used as well to achieve this score. So a base single game week, no chip played game week as well, and 95 points. What a week. So let's start off with Martinez. 6 points again, and I'm really struggling because my initial plan is to go from Martinez to Fabianski for that double game week, and even though Martinez only has a single game week, I'm reluctant to take him out. But the good thing is, if I'm going up to a 5.1 million Fabianski, I can always drop down to Martinez because Aston Villa have some difficult fixtures coming up. Robertson, 10 points in an amazing 7-0 thumping of Crystal Palace. Absolutely dismantled them. Clean sheet, assist. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I've had him all season, similar actually to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I've had the likes of Grealish for a very long time. And a few weeks ago, he was on the chopping block. He was going to go out. I know he left a lot of teams because Liverpool just couldn't keep a clean sheet, but they've got a good run of fixtures coming. And overall, I did predict that he'd come top of the FPL defenders. I don't think that'll surprise anyone. I still think he'll do that because I can't see the likes of Zuma holding that number one slot. Taylor comes in for a 5-point assist, so good performance from Burnley to turn Wolves over 2-1. Almost got a clean sheet as well, but getting an assist, any points you appreciate. So 5 points coming off the bench there for Lamperty/James, because both of my defenders, like a lot of you guys, had 2 of our defenders not playing, or unfortunately, if you had the likes of Chilwell going off with just a 1-pointer. Speaking of 1-pointers, there's Kufal with a thumping from Chelsea there. West Ham received. So similar team as well. Souček, still 4.9 million I got him in for. He's 5 million, or is he 5.1 million now? Let me just double check that. Yeah, he's 5.1 million now, so I've got a little bit of a price rise on him. Good fixtures coming up, and of course he's got that double game week. De Bruyne, 5 points, getting an assist. A lot of people are selling him. He's one of the most sold players this game week, and you can understand why. This is a risky time to be a premium because it feels like every premium, almost every week, is hitting the points. You've got still the likes of Son and Kane, the top overall scorers. You've got Salah getting hauls. You've got Bruno getting hauls, and consistency. And Man City are just still not really showing enough in their attack. It's a strange year. It's, of course, been an incredibly weird year in general. And in football and in fantasy football, it's been just as strange. And now we're in a situation where we're looking at Manchester City defenders rather than Manchester City attackers. That's the situation right now. And then we go to the other 3 players. Grealish with a 10-pointer. Another game week where it could have been a lot more, a lot of chances not put away. And unfortunately, I have been saying this for a while now. Probably this will be his last game week. I'm going to give him Crystal Palace before Heung-min Son comes back into the side. And then we've got the tale of the weekend. Mo Salah was my captain. I had said my last decision on the Friday stream just gone. The last decision I was going to make was who was going to be my captain, Salah or Bruno. And it was Salah until we got the leaked or rumoured information, strong rumours that Salah was going to get benched. I thought, just not even worth it. Not even worth entertaining a risk. There were semi-credible sources, and I was fine with Bruno. So many chances conceded by Leeds. Home or away doesn't matter. Bruno is a great FPL asset, a great consistent player as well. That I was fine with that decision. Mo Salah gets benched. I'm thinking, yep, that was a good decision, good. And then of course he comes off the bench and gets a 16-point haul. But I even tweeted out after it saying that, look, if you did take the captaincy off Salah because there were such strong rumours that he was benched, that was still the right call. If you've got a player that's only maybe going to come on for 20, 30 minutes, doesn't matter who they are, if you can get another premium for 90 minutes, or at least to start the game, I still think that was the right decision. And also, his effective ownership wasn't really, I think it was 95%. So as long as you had him, it wasn't that bad. And of course, you still get those 16 points. So I was still pretty happy. I said, look, after that Liverpool game, I had 26 points. It's been a long time since I had a start like that, let alone the finish of 95. And then, of course, Bruno comes in and gets 34 points for captaincy. What a game week. And then up front, Dominic Calvert-Lewin just keeps ticking along. Had him all season. He can get 4s and 5s. Look, people are holding on to Timo Werner with that same feeling of, but he's so close to banging. It's coming. Trust me, for a person who had Timo Werner from game week 1 to game week 9, that feeling just does not go away. And it's another situation where Timo Werner, it's coming, and it just doesn't. Well, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is getting like the same points, if not more than Timo Werner. So why am I going to pay an extra sort of 2 million for a player when DCL is right there? Difficult fixtures coming up, arguably. I can see a lot of people maybe dropping down to a Bamford or an Antonio if he's fit, or even a Callum Wilson who has difficult fixtures too. But for me, he just ticks over nicely. He's a great player. And then Bamford with a blank in that 6-2 drubbing at Old Trafford. A lot of credit going out to Leeds there for, still attacking and still having a go, still running the hearts out, playing with the hearts on the sleeves. But at the end of the day, they got smashed and Bamford blanked. But let's not be too hasty. A lot of people are still bringing him in. Leeds have got really good fixtures. They've got a double game week. And for his price, technically, you should be allowing Bamford to get maybe 3 or 4 games of worth of blanks before he gets returns. Because remember, he is only like a 6.2. I think he's 6.2 million now. Has he gone up again? Oh my word, he's 6.4. Wow, that's outdated. That's because I've been here for a few weeks. I didn't know he'd gone that high, but still 6.4 million for a striker who plays pretty much every game in a very attacking lead side. You can afford sort of 2 or 3 games of blanks before you start to maybe have your head turned to other people. It was a bit of a game week for injuries. You can see Lamperty there not playing, and that's a shame. It was against Sheffield United. James not playing, knee surgery. Apparently not needing knee surgery, guys. So you might want to hold on to that transfer till you hear Frank Lampard press conference. I have not waited for that. I've got 2 free transfers. I've already used 1. And of course, Brewster with his mandatory 1 point. So overall, guys, I'm up to just inside 1.9 million, which if you're a new viewer to the channel, you'll think, well, that's just terrible as it is. But have a little bit of love here, guys, because as you can see from my game week rank, it's been awful. Game week 1, 3.5 million, 3.4, 2.4, 4 million, 3.6, 4.6, 4.3, 4.4 million, 3.8, 3.5, 3, 2.8, 2.7, 1.8. We're on a roll now, guys. I did the same thing last season, but worse. I'm actually starting a little bit of a comeback more now, because last season it was all the way in something like game week 15 or 16, and I was like 2.2 million, and I ended up just outside the top 100k. And I blew it on the last game. The last game of the season, Spurs let me down. But anyway, I'm not bitter about it. But at least the rise is on. And team value at 104.2. I'm not usually big onto my team value stuff, but having that in the bank, that's why it's going to enable me to have a team that looks a little bit like this. So starting on my bench, you can see Taylor, who's often on my bench, but that might change in the future. Bruce is always there. Lamperty is going to go out, just not yet. I want to keep hold of my transfers. And Forster is just warming the bench there. But having a look now, you can see I'm pretty confident with this game week. Martinez at home to Crystal Palace, who's just been smashed and don't often score that many goals. I'm pretty happy. Robertson at home to West Brom. I saw somewhere that West Brom's XG in their last game was something like 0.04, which is like one of the worst in like history. So I'm pretty confident about that. Plus Robertson in attack is a fantastic player. Kufal at home to Brighton is a good fixture. They want to bounce back from that Chelsea game. Now Stones has come in for Reece James. Now the reason why I've done that is two. So one, I've had Cancelo and he's a rotation risk. They're all rotation risks. And John Stones seems to have put his name into the hat to be in that centre-back partnership with Ruben Dias. Now, for 4.8 million, I needed that little bit of extra money to go with. I can go Grealish to Son, and then what I can do is I'll do Lamperty down just a fraction to, I don't want to go Balbuena, but a 4.4 million. I'm thinking Rob Holding at Arsenal, and then Martinez can go to Fabianski. So then I'll have, I think, 9 double game week players. So I'll free hit in 18 and just do nothing in 19, maybe a triple captaincy. So even though I didn't particularly want to get rid of Reece James, with the knee coming, not the best route of fixtures, and I would like a Manchester City defender. And too many times I've had the likes of Lamperty and Taylor with points on my bench. So let's just say Pep Roulette happens and Stones doesn't play for one game. Hopefully he'll come back. If he's dropped, of course, I'll take him out permanently. But if he plays 2 games, gets dropped for one, I'm okay with that because my bench isn't the likes of Mitchell. My bench is Taylor and Lamperty, or in the future, Rob Holding or another 4.4 million player who will play 90 minutes. So I'd rather risk a rotation of a 4.8 million player than a 5.5 or 6 million plus Man City defender. It's like a lot of people now are thinking of bringing in Matip just to get the clean sheet points of Liverpool because they think they'll get some clean sheets. I'm doing the same, but for Manchester City. So I don't want to spend sort of 5.5 or 5.7 or 6 million plus for a Man City defender that could get rotated out. It looks like Stones has got a semi-cemented spot in that starting 11, but even if he plays 1 in 3 games, and doesn't come on as a sub, which is unlikely to do, then I'm happy with that because I'll have got Taylor on the bench and then I might have a Leeds defender or another West Ham defender. I might just have someone else. So I don't actually mind Stones if he gets dropped just 1 in sort of 3 games. So that's the reason why I brought Stones in, for that little bit of extra cash and to try and get some of those Manchester City clean sheets. Going in, Salah captaincy at home to West Brom, I think is... So captaincy talk, I think that's the strongest option. You've got Fernandes away to Leicester. Away from home is fantastic. Leicester have just done a real good performance against Spurs. But again, you've got Kevin De Bruyne at home to Newcastle. Man City, we talked about this earlier, they're not looking the strongest at home or away. Just in general, in attack, that's what I wanted to say. And... you've got Liverpool who just put 7 past. Salah's just been benched. He had a rest. You know, I think I wasn't alone when I was really surprised Salah even getting onto the pitch. I think they were 4-0 up before he got on. I thought he would have just got a 90-minute rest. So he has had a rest. And with the reports of him being a little bit unhappy and maybe even seeking a move from Liverpool for some reason. It's probably just a rumour. But I can't imagine Klopp giving Salah another rest against West Brom. So, for me, easily the strongest option for captaincy. I can understand if you want to go Kevin De Bruyne. He is a slightly bigger differential. Newcastle at home is a good fixture. But West Brom at home, Captain Livermore is suspended as well. Salah, I think he's not blanked. Is it 6 games he hasn't blanked now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Didn't play. 6, 7. He's not blanked in 7. Now, I'll throw that out there, though, guys. That is a bit of a junk stat. Not saying, oh, well, he's not blanked in 7, therefore he'll never blank again. I'm not saying that, but when a player hasn't blanked in 7 games, that's form, right? And then you've got the fixture at home to West Brom. It's the double combo, right? Grealish, probably his last game. I was thinking of bringing in Heung-min Son earlier, but after Crystal Palace getting smashed 7-0, Grealish... getting 10 points as well, I'm going to hold off. And that might even sway me. And that might even mean that I don't play Grealish. I don't transfer Grealish to Son. I might do Brewster to Michail Antonio and go 3-4-3 and change out Souček. It's a possibility, but there you go. With the game from game week 16, Spurs, the fixtures look so strong that think I'm going to need him. Souček at home to Brighton along with Kufal. Again, hopefully they'll bounce back. And I keep singing Souček's praises because every time I see West Ham attack, he's playing at centre forward, or if he's a little bit late to the attack, he's just bombing it into the box or hanging on the outside. For an apparently CDM, central defensive midfielder, for 5.1 million now. I got him for 4.9, but it's still incredibly cheap. I think if you can't get Souček, I think he's the best value around that area up until you get to a James Ward-Prowse, and then after that you get into like a Jack Grealish or Wilfried Zaha. So that's the sort of jump up. So if Souček will only go out for someone like James Ward-Prowse, which is a lot more expensive than 5.1 million. Going up front, Bamford at home to Burnley. It's not easy. Leeds attack. The exciting thing about Leeds is you never know what's going to happen. You know that they're going to put in 110%. You know that they're going to attack no matter who they play against. Burnley are a solid 4-stack defense, 4-stack midfield. Come and break me down. It's a great challenge of a really defensive team against a really attacking team. And it's a little bit like Sheffield United last year with the overlapping centre-backs that when teams sort of play them for the first time, you're not 100% sure how they're going to react. So this could be anything. That's what I'm basically trying to say. This could be a 0-0, Burnley just shut them out. Burnley could go and steal it 1-0, or Leeds could just overwhelm them and just completely shock the system of Burnley and smash them 3-0 or 5-0 or whatever. You never know what you're going to get. But Burnley at home for Bamford, I think is a good fixture. And speaking of good fixtures to round off the team, Dominic Calvert-Lewin away to Sheffield United, who still have not won. So a lot of people have been selling him. They want to get some money, but how can you sell the joint top goal scorer in the Premier League right now when he's playing against the worst team? One of the worst starts as well ever in Premier League history. I think it would be madness. So I've already talked about some of my future transfer plans. I will most likely be free hitting in game week 18 because I've got enough double game week players, and I'll have really strong single game week players. So the likes of De Bruyne and Heung-min Son have very good single game week fixtures. I think it's Man City home to Crystal Palace, and it is Spurs at Sheffield United. So having Kevin De Bruyne and Son against people with double game week players who play for weaker teams or don't have particularly great fixtures, I would put some money on De Bruyne and Son outscoring them, to be honest. So that's probably the tactic that I'm going to be doing. I might slap the triple captaincy on Mo Salah, but I just don't like the idea of using sort of 2 chips over 2 weeks. It might be better if they complement each other. I do understand that, but we'll just have to wait and see. So let's just have a quick look at the fixtures, any other players and points and predictions, just to round out the video. So having a look at the fixtures, you can see Leicester against Manchester United for the first game of the game week. And I know it's crazy, and it was the only reason that stopped me wanting to captain Salah last week. There's a superstition in the community that don't back the first game of the game week. Don't put your captaincy in that first game. Now, stat-wise, there's nothing to prove that, but emotionally, so for example, if you did captain Salah and he's walked away with 32 points, you're pretty happy for the rest of the game week. You're kind of like saying, come at me everyone else, because my captain's got 32 points and I'm delighted. But if your captain is in that very first game, so if you do go for Bruno Fernandes, who is a great option, he is in great form, he's excellent away from home, then I understand that decision, and it's not a bad decision. But do be wary that you could, on Boxing Day, be stuck having a blanked Bruno Fernandes and having to have City at home to Newcastle and especially Liverpool at home to West Brom, just waiting for that to happen. So I personally won't back Bruno Fernandes for this one. Leicester, Vardy has got a little bit of a niggle coming in a little bit more often. I think it's a hip injury that he's had for a while. He usually walks it off or hobbles it off or has some breaks in between. I just don't know now. With Jamie Vardy getting on the wrong side of 30, I don't know how often he can sort of play 2 or 3 games in a week. So for this one, I would lean towards Man United. It was a fantastic performance by Leicester, but this is 2 counter-attacking sides against each other, so I don't think it's going to be a high scorer, but hopefully I'll be proved wrong. Aston Villa against Crystal Palace. I do hope this is a high-scoring one. I do have Grealish and Martinez, but Crystal Palace, I don't know if Now, if they would have been beaten by the champions, say 4 or 5-0, I think they would have accepted it a little bit more. But the fact that they got smashed 7-0 at home, and I do think that it was the highest score they've ever been beaten at home, right? 7-0 at home in the Premier League. Now, I think that'll make Crystal Palace bounce back. I don't think Roy Hodgson is going to say, right, we're going to go ultra defensive. We can't have this happen again because against Aston Villa. I saw a few tweets I think it was Patrick Van Aanholt who said how the shame and embarrassment that they felt. So if it was something like 4-0 to Liverpool, that doesn't feel too shameful or embarrassing. But the fact that it was 7-0, that might make them bounce back. So had it been a less of a smash by Liverpool last week, I think Aston Villa would have been more favourites. I suspect Crystal Palace could have a trick up their sleeve here. Following against Southampton, I'm not too sure what's going to happen with Danny Ings, but Adams is still ticking on nicely. The defence, I think, should be fine in this one. So a lot of people with likes of Vestergaard and Kyle Walker-Peters or McCarthy in goal. If you don't have him, maybe you think of bringing him in for the double game week. Southampton fixtures feel a little bit up and down for me. I personally don't have any plans to bring any in. Fulham still staying clear of these newly promoted sides apart from Leeds. So West Brom and Fulham for me are still the ones to target. So if you've got Southampton, I'd be very surprised if you're not playing any. Arsenal against Chelsea is... Well, Arsenal are going to have to do something, and I'm genuinely going to be surprised if Arsenal get nothing from this one and then nothing from the next game. I'd be surprised if Arsenal don't have a new manager when the new year strikes. I really will be. There's only so long you can stick around with this. I think they're 15th or 16th in the league. Chelsea, absolutely solid favourites here. And that's funny because I'm thinking about bringing in Rob Holding, but that's just as a 4.4 million sub-defender. In terms of assets or captaincy, I've said this before about Chelsea. The issue is the points feel like spread around, the defence is strong. Don't trust Timo. Who's going to start up front, Giroud or Abraham, but you wouldn't captain them. And then you've got the likes of Kai Havertz, so you're going to go Pulisic. Captaincy options, no. Player options, there's quite a few there. I would just still be looking at the defence. I think even if Giroud or Abraham could nail down some time, there's too much rotation and it's far, far, far too expensive to have sort of 7 million plus strikers who basically might not play or just come on for the last 20 minutes. Man City against Newcastle. Not even going to guess the lineup here. I do think Kevin De Bruyne is still nailed on. Pep has alluded to the idea that he has no plans to rest Kevin De Bruyne just yet. But that's Pep Guardiola we're talking about. He's not called Fraudiola in the community for no reason. There is a possibility that there's rotation there. But if you're going to stick a captaincy on here, captaincy on Kevin De Bruyne, or maybe even Raheem Sterling, who's got a couple of goals in the last couple of games, might be a good option too. Newcastle, this is when the fixtures go tough for them. They had the Fulham game, but they have a tough run of fixtures now. Sheffield United, Everton, I think we're only looking at Dominic Calvert-Lewin in this one. Maybe some heads are turning to Richarlison, but he's too expensive, I think, for that price. So the only player in this fixture I'll be looking at is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Leeds, Burnley, I think a lot of people will be backing Leeds, but interestingly, a lot of people start to bring in Charlie Taylor at Burnley, so it could be a lot of people with their attack against their defence, as well as a few people having some Leeds defenders, like Dallas is going up. He's had another price rise. But yep, could be an interesting game there. West Ham, Brighton. I am leaning towards West Ham to bounce back from that Chelsea result. I'm just hoping that West Ham have had such a strong start after a difficult run of fixtures. They've done so well that now they're going to drift into these easy fixtures and they're going to underwhelm. So they've had these great results for the first part of the season against really difficult opposition. And then just when people start to buy their players in and the fixtures turn, oh, well, the fixtures are green on the fixture ticker now. They've done so well in these red fixtures. Now they're green. I must bring them in. And I can just feel West Ham, that's the kind of club that when the fixtures are there and the form's there, they're just going to dip and it's going to be horrible. Hopefully I'm proven wrong and Souček bags a hat trick. Going into that Liverpool-West Brom game, yeah, Firmino at Christmas seems to tick along nicely, but far too expensive for what you get in there. People having a punt on Mane, fair play, is a great option. Salah is the number one thing for there. Maybe I'm thinking even in a double game week, putting a captaincy on Robertson or maybe even Trent. I did that last season, actually. I did put the captaincy on Trent Alexander-Arnold in that double game week where Mane got injured, and I think Salah was already out. So I did put the captaincy on Trent, and I think he returned a clean sheet and an assist or something in that game week. It was a decent game week for me. So I wouldn't like to have a punt. Like, the thing is, with West Brom's lack of attack, like that 0.04 XG, something like that, that the clean sheet, like, they're going to have to do something terrible. Like, how West Brom scored against Man City still amazes me now. So if West Brom can somehow get a goal against Liverpool, who looked so good against Fulham, against Crystal Palace. If I would have been watching that Liverpool Crystal Palace game with no Liverpool player, I would have had to buy another sofa to put in front of my sofa to hide behind that sofa. It was absolutely incredible from Liverpool. And then rounding off the game week again, I always feel like Spurs are the last team to play because we all get happy, our ranks are all going up, and this is all, look at my green arrow. And then Spurs play last game of the game week, and Son and Kane get load of points and kill everyone's rank who doesn't have both of them. But anyway, Wolves have been very disappointing this season. You look at the likes of bringing in Semedo and bringing in Silva and selling Jota and Doherty, and you're just thinking, and loss of a lot of money here. Who's made this decision? Oh my word. But Wolves are underwhelming right now. Beaten again. Spurs are going to definitely want to fight back from being beaten by, I don't want to say title chasers, but definitely Champions League chasers, Leicester City there. Captaincy options, yep, you can always rely on Son and Kane, I guess. I know they let people down this game week. I actually disagree with people who captained them this game week. I felt like there were a lot of better options out there and was really surprised to see people who didn't captain Salah because they heard the news switching to Kane and Son. Maybe they were protecting rank. Personally, I felt there was a lot of other fixtures out there. Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne, who had a better fixture. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes, who had a better fixture. I'd be very surprised that the people who have Salah also don't have at least Kevin De Bruyne or Bruno Fernandes. So there you go. So that's going to be it for this game week, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, leave a like and maybe subscribe. If you would like to see a little stream on Christmas Day, then let me know in the comments below. But if you're busy with your family, that's perfectly fine as well. Unfortunately, I don't celebrate Christmas out here. It's not a country that celebrates Christmas. And it's probably the worst time for me because it's a time when you're not with your family, exchanging gifts and having a delicious meal and things like that. But unfortunately, if you're in England or in the UK, you're feeling sort of a similar thing right now because of all the restrictions. So hopefully we'll still have a Merry Christmas. If you want to see a stream, let me know in the comments below. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful one. At least we've got our health and a roof over our head and gifts and some food and stuff. So at least there's something to be thankful for. So hopefully let's get some green arrows. Merry Christmas, guys, and I'll catch you next time.